Welcome to the Liquidity Event, a show about all things personal finance with a laser focus on taxes, financial independence, and equity compensation. Hosted by AJ and Shane of Brooklyn FI, each episode will focus on a personal finance topic, some driven by news headlines and sometimes driven by listener questions. And sometimes you'll just get two money nerds rambling about what they think is interesting. Just a quick note before we get started, this podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered tax or investment advice.
Hello and welcome to the Liquidity Event. We are your hosts, Shane Mason.
And AJ Ayers.
And this is episode 142, being recorded on April 11th. Just got back to Mexico, and my Spanish is basura. This is going to be airing on April 11th. A quick reminder for you listeners, we will answer your questions on the pod. If you leave us a message, you can disguise your voice and use a fake name if you're shy. The Liquidity Event link is at membo.fm/the Liquidity Event. AJ, how are we doing this week? Good to see you.
Pretty good. Good to see you, Shane. I am in California, which is my happy place, as our listeners may know. So life is good.
Is it a happy place today?
No, it's an unhappy place today. Because my darling grandfather, who is actually in this portrait behind me, passed away yesterday. He was 101 years old. He lived a long, beautiful life. I got to spend many years with him. So it's sad, but it's also sort of bittersweet. So pour one out for Murray Grossan, folks. And if you've got grandparents, hold them close, give them a call. I just feel really lucky that I had a grandparent around for so long.
Thanks for sharing something so personal on the pod. It is a part of life for sure. That's kind of what this podcast is about, kind of what financial planning is all about, is enjoying the life that you have with the ones that you love. So I will pour one out for Murray later.
Pour out.
Heard a lot about Murray since we first met. I mean, when we first met, he was 94.
Yeah, right.
It's kind of wild.
Yeah, it's funny. We threw him like a big 99th birthday party, and then we threw him like a big 100th birthday party, and then like a huge 101. So, you get up there every year as a celebration. So, he was a good one.
Well, we're gonna miss him. We're gonna miss Mr. Grossan. I'm ashamed I never got to meet him out in California. Yeah. We didn't want to fly him out to a Brooklyn client event.
Yeah.
He was a stock trader to the end, was he not?
He was, yes. He traded options until very recently. Did pretty well for himself. I think someone had to take his computer away at a certain point.
I mean...
Yeah, when I started explaining stock options and what we do at Brooklyn FI, he was like, options, I know a lot about that. And proceeded to show me his
different kind of options.
Different kind of options, Grandpa.
Different kind of options.
Well, cool. Yeah.
Great.
You're back in Mexico? I
am back in Mexico, yes. Getting resettled back into my rhythms. Charlie and I have our morning park sessions back at it. I'm becoming a well-known entity here in Mexico City, and that was not the point of coming down here. Everyone recognizes me now and they want to chat all day. I'm trying to read a book here, my
Question.
friends. I don't want to talk about the weather.
How about you think of that as you or Charlie? I bet it's 55% Charlie.
We're both extremely extroverted. I will say that. Like father, like son. I did raise him from 7 weeks old. So he sent him with the holas and como estás. So,
Charlie is for those who don't know, Charlie is it's a very striking dog. He's a very, very cute, happy, good-looking, red Merle Australian Shepherd. Yeah, I would put him in the top 2% of dogs.
You're not a dog person, so
I'm not a dog person.
That's saying a lot.
In fact, I have friends who are jealous of my relationship with Charlie because they're like, "How come you love Charlie but you don't love my dog?"
Ha! Well, they've never met Charlie.
Never met Charlie, exactly. Wait, before we move on, I just want to shout out something really cool that happened over the weekend. As many
White
folks
Lotus
know,
season finale?
That was cool. I did not watch it because it got too heated for me.
Stressful?
I couldn't watch it, too stressful.
You turned it off? The season finale?
No, I didn't watch it. I just read the recaps.
Oh my God. That's not how it works.
That's not what I wanted to talk about. What I wanted to talk about is my t-shirt, which says Roth IRA, and it is the black flag logo. Because over the weekend, my husband, who is a writer and whatever, got to interview Henry Rollins, the lead singer of Black Flag. And I said to my husband, hey, take him one of these shirts and give it to him. And my husband was a little bit nervous because if you don't know Henry Rollins, he's like a pretty intense guy. So there was like a non-zero chance that he would have been like, why did you use some like financial bullshit on my like beloved band logo? But he loved it. And he not only accepted the gift, but he put it on and posed for a picture. So that was a very cool Brooklynify moment to have our joke t-shirt on the band, lead singer of the band's body. So that was fun. You can see the photo on our Instagram.
Yeah. I mean, I was really taken aback by him being cool with it. Like,
oh yeah,
it's a real testament to him being like a chiller. Like I thought he was going to be intense. Like, what the fuck is this? Like, to your point, when you showed me, you just texted me out of nowhere with him in the shirt. I was like, okay, this is AI generated for sure. And then there was another photo with him with your husband, and I was like, what the hell is going on here? It's very cool.
Well, yeah, I said to Nabil, I was like, you know, you have to obviously like feel out the vibe. Like if it's a no-go, don't do it. And Nabil's, and he was nervous. He was like, what if he hates it? But he was super chill. And he was like, I've seen so many like funny versions of this. And he's like, people always show me, but they never bring me one. So he's like, thank you for bringing me one. I really appreciate it. So.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Yeah. Also a really good litmus test for the person you're showing a photo of Henry Rollins to. I realized that this girl I was talking to was probably too young when she didn't recognize him. So moving in off the weekend, we've got some lovely episodes, some lovely articles for you here.
That's a new rule. It's not what's the one? It's like your age divided by 2 + 7 or something. But now it's just
if they don't recognize Henry Rollins.
Name this. Name this
the
Renaissance
cultural
man.
and age litmus test. Yeah. Cool. So a lot going on in the news this week. We have one of the biggest downturns in the U.S. market, in the worldwide markets since COVID, due to one man's decision to throw the world into chaos, as he is wont to do. We have an article here from commenting on that from J.P. Morgan's CEO Jamie Dimon, says that Trump's tariffs will boost inflation, not good, and slow an already weakening U.S. economy. Yes, we had the poster board of inflation terms, including a 50% tariff on Lesotho, one of the poorest countries in the world, 37%-ish tariffs on Madagascar. What do you think we're getting from Madagascar? Like vanilla beans?
Vanilla beans. Yeah, vanilla beans.
Vanilla
yeah,
beans
huge.
are too expensive now,
Vanilla
as well
beans
as
have
some really
always
cool
been expensive.
geckos.
Yeah, vanilla beans have always been classist and exclusionary. So, you know, that's no surprise there.
Okay.
Did you say
Kitchen
geckos?
Princess has her cup. Yeah, one of the coolest geckos in the world comes from Madagascar. I'm a bit
Is
of
it
a
the
gecko
African
head.
fat-tailed gecko? Because that is the coolest gecko in the world. And I used to raise an African fat-tailed gecko. His name was Roxy, and he was my first love.
Those
Anyway.
are the golden retrievers of geckos, first of all. I'm
African
talking
fat-tailed
about
geckos
a
are
rare...
not the golden retrievers. They have a tail that looks
You're coming
like
out
a
of
head.
gecko head. You're coming out of gecko head, so be
Okay.
careful.
How many geckos
then
have
we're
you
going off
raised from 0?
Tokay gecko, golden
Okay, here we
gecko.
go.
All right, you want to keep going? This
Anyway.
is now a gecko podcast. You better geck it together
All right,
before
tell
you
us-
get blasted.
You can go
Anyway.
fuck yourself.
This is now an insurance podcast. Anyway, AJ, let's talk about tariffs. What are your
Yeah.
thoughts? What's going on? How are you responding? Every podcast in America will be talking about it this week. Give us your own take.
My own take is not different from many people's, which is we knew he was going to do this because if he says he's going to do something, he has to do it because he has this obsession with headlines and grabbing headlines and being the focus of attention. So he wanted to do something bold, and he took it to what I think is a pretty extreme measure from what we have seen and interviews with his inner circle and, you know, former advisors or people close to him, that this was a shock to them and this was too much. He took it too far. Historically, I like to study history. We've had tariffs. We've tried tariffs twice before in this country. Unfortunately, the data is pretty old, right? We have data from the 1890s and the 1930s. It didn't work then. That was a long time ago. But raising tariffs, it's based on this idea that you can potentially win a presidential campaign on, which is like, let's bring manufacturing jobs back to this country. I don't believe that's a possibility. Just a stat for you. U.S. manufacturing, like as a percentage of jobs that are available. So we have, you know, software engineering jobs and medical jobs, but just like jobs that are in manufacturing. It used to be 40% of all jobs in the 1950s, and now it's just 7% of all jobs in this country are manufacturing. So to build policy around putting more money and infrastructure and support into what has it been a intentionally failing industry for the past 75 years is idiotic to me. Something I've also been thinking, sorry, I've been on a monologue. I'm going to let you jump in before I come back.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I have a bit of a monologue as well.
Okay,
There's this great tweet. Yeah, there's this great tweet from Jay Belor, who I'd never heard of before. It was posted, one of our colleagues in the financial planning space gave me this. His ad is Stock Savvy Shay, and he wrote an open letter to President Trump. It's like too long to do the full. I guess tweets can be whole essays now.
Yeah, now tweets are not tweets. They're just Google
yeah,
Docs.
I'm like, what happened on X? It literally is a Google Doc. Anyway, I'll summarize it for you, or ChatGPT has summarized it for us. This isn't a strategy. It's chaos in a suit. There's a lot of people that are like our traditional conservatives, or people that are down or not down with the neoliberal movement or globalization to move everything over to China. I mean, I understand moving and spreading things out to Vietnam and India like Apple has done. Unfortunately, there's now 46% tariffs on Vietnam as well as tariffs on China. So it just feels like some of those main points are like, this is not a plan. It's totally random. Like, it's easier if we have a plan for us to adjust. And also, we were down for a reset. We were down to figure out some stuff because we were picking up the tab and exporting all of our jobs out of the country and paying for defense everywhere, defending everybody else in the world, but was hollowing out the American experience. What were you going to say?
Yeah, I was going to say what I dislike most about this administration is these are policies that are like the extreme, and it's like, here's the extreme and it's happening overnight. Typically when we have successful change, it's because we drip it over time. So like even with our clients, like if you want to make a behavioral change in your life, you make gradual changes. You don't go on a crash diet to lose weight. You slowly start eating healthier and cut certain things out. So fine, if you needed to get China to a 45% tariff in 10 years, great, do it a few percentage points each year and slowly roll it out, test the waters, do some research, get data, and then see what works. This is just throw some spaghetti at the ceiling and see what sticks. I don't think that's the right analogy.
At the wall. Spaghetti at the wall. There it is. What do we call those now? Malaphors?
Malaphors, yeah.
Well, dear listener, I've been making fun of AJ's misappropriation of metaphors and for years now, and apparently there's a word for it. Yeah, it's malaphor.
But this is like similar to like, Musk and his whole department of chaos. It's like, these are just massive cuts without thought. It's just like, we got to make a change, so let's just like wreck everything. And this is the US is a pretty big ship to steer. So you kind of got to turn it slowly. You can't just like go hard right and see what happens.
Yeah. We're 2 months into the administration and we've got more volatility than what COVID created. A worldwide pandemic. Which all because we have no plan. I mean, that's one of the biggest criticisms from this guy as well. As his essay is great about it. It's like there was a smarter way to do all this. I mean, I understand like China was really the trade war. A lot of people think we're actually in a soft war, a bit of a cold war right now with China and Taiwan. They're stealing all of our IP relentlessly. Like, they're just stealing all of our corporate secrets. I mean, this is one of the biggest problems. It's okay to import, cheap iPhones, but when they start stealing corporate secrets, that's a much bigger problem. And the AI war with having Taiwan right off their coast and all the semiconductors that we get from them, we could have targeted them and gotten what we really want. What are we getting from putting a tariff on Lesotho and Madagascar and Vietnam? We're shooting ourselves in the feet. Yeah, we're getting chaos. On a personal level, I'm rethinking my renovations that were supposed to start in 3 weeks. You know?
Yeah, I mean, like whoever you talk to, like these tariffs are going to impact everyone. I mean, my Instagram feed is full of small business owners, like designers, and a friend here in Palm Springs, manufactures like safety parts for factories, and he's like, I got my last carton in from South Korea, and he's like, that's it. And he's like, I'm not going to order more. Like it's truly halting so many aspects of the economy. It's like, why? Anything else that the smart guy said other than me saying it's like, why?
It's just pure chaos. It's just hard for people to plan. No CEO has a 5-year plan for what they're going to do with their business. I mean, you and I are probably going to put hiring on pause. A ton of people are putting hiring on pause. Capital expenditures are going to go on pause as we start to sort all this out. This needs to get, it's supposed to go live tonight at midnight. So by the time this pod airs, we'll have a better idea of what's actually been implemented. If this was all just what is Lesotho going to do? What are we doing here?
Well, I mean, look, it's, did you see that tweet that was like, if you ask ChatGPT how to calculate what the tariff should be, it comes up with the formula that they came up with. So like there's speculation that this administration is so clueless that someone was tasked with actually calculating what the tariff rate should be for each country, and it's based on information that's freely available and how ChatGPT processes information. Someone was like, I actually think they just asked ChatGPT, and that's how they came up with the numbers.
No, they definitely did. You can reverse engineer it. They figured out how that was done. It's just our trade imbalance with the country like divided by 2, and they did no calculations beyond that. That's why we got Lesotho on a little island that has no human inhabitants but penguins on it. Got tariff slapped on it. I mean, one of my favorite things, like looking into this, there's like Rachel Maddow did a 15-minute expose on like where the policies even come from, because all this stems from his first run at the presidency in 2016 when he had no economic policy at all, because he's just a clown that bankrupted casinos that was running for presidency based on populism and hatred and xenophobia. And Jared Kushner, his son, went on Amazon and just looked up cool names. Didn't even read the books, but found one called Death by China and was like, this is a cool name for a book. Let's base it off whatever policies are in here. And it's all about tariffs. The writer of the book, Peter Navarro, quotes this guy, Varon or whatever, this supposed economic genius that says that tariffs are the way to get it done. And it turns out years later, people figured out that this economic genius was just Peter Navarro quoting himself. He just used an anagram of his own name to quote himself and coming up with tariffs to sell books. And now this is a person running our economic policy of the biggest country that's ever existed.
Yeah, literally setting the world stage. Yeah.
Nightmare.
Yeah, nightmare. Truly nightmare. Yeah, but I mean, from
surely made $1 billion off of all of this.
From like, what can we do? You know, obviously no one likes to see the stock market in the red. For our business, you know, we were
fair enough
hearing whispers of, hey, IPOs are coming back. We can all kiss that goodbye. Like, no one's going to go public in this environment, except the next company, the next article we're going to talk about.
Well, yeah, it makes total sense.
Yeah, but a lot of folks are, you know, I get texts all the time, I'm sure you do too, Shane, from friends who are like, what do I do? Like, my 401k is down. And it's like, we sound like a freaking broken record, but like, truly the move is to do nothing. Like, markets are cyclical. We're going to get through this. Like, this is not going to tank the global economy. We don't have to go out and build our bunkers yet. So just stay the course, folks. I'll say it 100%.
I actually don't get that many texts, unfortunately.
Really?
No, yeah. I think it's like that might be a male-female thing. I think men don't want to ask another man about the stock market.
You can give them my number. I'm happy to talk about it.
You want to talk to my boys? They are generally over 6 feet tall. All right. Any other things that we should touch on while we have? Do you want to talk about the other policies that we're implementing? The $5 million golden visa. For some reason, that was necessary.
Yeah.
Even though we already have an investor visa situation.
Yeah, we already have visas that cover really smart people and love and other good reasons to move to this country. Let's add in a carve out for folks who don't qualify for any of the winning qualities, just have money. So that's what criminals, oligarchs, am I forgetting anybody? Criminals. I think that covers it.
I mean,
Warlords.
Why else would you spend the $5 million? So supposedly we're going to raise trillions of dollars using this. We did a little bit of math. There's 8.6 million people supposedly that have $5 million laying around. If every single one of them, including the ones that only have my $5 million and thus spend all their money, 100% of their cash on this, that would get us 40 trillion, which is actually a ton of money. Like that's pretty much our national debt right now. But first of all, who is doing this? These are people that there's only probably a few thousand people that have actual $5 million of disposable income. And why wouldn't they go through the typical routes to apply for U.S. visas?
Yeah, I mean,
in
terms of that
investment, you got to hire like 5 people. It's not that many people. If you got
also,
$5 million,
the math on that, like, shouldn't we be looking at people who have $25 million and up at least? Like, if you have $5 million, you can't spend it all on that. Like, you wouldn't spend it all on. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate it. I mean,
yeah.
I'm sure there's legitimate people that have been looking for a fast track to U.S. citizenship, maybe European, who knows? But like, and then it goes right into the Treasury. It will help with the, it will help with the deficit. Unlike the extension of TCJA and all the other. I guess these tariffs are supposed to help out with the deficit as well. AJ, how do you think that'll impact?
I think this was all obliviating, and I think we'll get a pause, and I think they'll come down and get slashed in half, and whatever.
Let's hope so. All right, enough tariff talk. Let's move on to something more fun. Let's talk about an IPO. We have one of our first big IPOs in the tech space this year, if you consider crypto a tech IPO, which I guess we could call it that. We have public markets open to crypto. We have USDC, which is issued by this company, Circle, files for its IPO. This is a stablecoin company, this is a stablecoin, USDC, issued by Circle, which is the second largest stablecoin distributor, or I shouldn't say not distributor, but developer after Tether, which is a Hong Kong-based private company that has to make almost zero disclosures according to its rules, because it's not a public company, it's not based in the United States, it's in Hong Kong. So we have our first IPO of a US-based stablecoin company. So we're going to get a lot of disclosures, a lot of trust. What do you think, AJ, about this
Couple
IPO?
things here. First, I just want to point out that they had a failed SPAC in 2022 already. And the reason why I think
Red flag,
huge red flag. They just filed their S1. So we don't know if there's actually going to be an IPO. Lots of people file S1s and then withdraw them. But I think this entire IPO is based off of just like a tweet. I forget whether it was Musk or Trump who was like, "We're gonna let's get a stable going for the United States dollar." It's like, you guys, the dollar is the greatest currency store of value in the history of the world. Why are you messing with it? So this is the way I understand this. And correct me if I'm wrong. A stablecoin is literally just a facsimile of a dollar. So like any stablecoin that gets traded on this exchange is backed by security. So if I send you a dollar worth of USDC, this stablecoin, that means that there is a dollar mimicking it in the background that is being used to purchase like U.S. treasuries or something like that. So it's analogous for currency that's already in circulation. So they're tied together. And this is a great way for this company to make money off holding all that cash and loaning it right back out, right? That's how they make money.
Yeah. It's essentially a bank. It's a digital bank. They take in deposits from people that want to use this stablecoin. Who the hell are you? I'd like to know who you are. But apparently they have deposits in the billions, so that's interesting. And they'll take the cash that you deposit and they just invest. They just get they get treasury. They invest it essentially, just like a bank. Yeah. They get high yield from a savings account, and then they have to pay out according to their S1. They're paying large amount to distributors. So because there has to be some sort of rails to get this software essentially distributed via the hardware to people. So they're paying a ton of money to Coinbase to distribute their
okay. So this is good for Coinbase
product. Great for Coinbase.
Coinbase's stock price. So that's good.
You know, it's actually, as somebody that's the company has razor thin margins. They have net income of 156 million on a revenue of 1.7 billion. So they're paying out a ton of their income to Coinbase. I imagine that as they scale and it becomes a much bigger product and it gets more adopted and it gets more platforms, they'll be able to negotiate their fees and their distributions of those fees across the different platforms. They might even have to start their own platform, was in the S1 as potential future development for the company. If they could get rid of these fees, kind of like if Uber could get rid of their drivers, I imagine that's how they could scale this digital currency. And as somebody that lives abroad and is I mean, I think everybody wants to get paid in US dollars in the entire world, frankly. Yeah, right. Like it's the best currency in the world in terms of stability, typically. We're in chaos mode lately, but it is the reserve currency of the world. So yeah, if I want to send money to somebody here in Mexico, or if I'm in Europe, I try to do a wire transfer. And even if you're doing business, of course, as well, you want to pay them. It will typically take a couple days for that money to show up. And there's a ton of know your customer issues. Banks don't want to deal with it. There's a ton of compliance. American banks are kind of a nightmare. You don't own your own information. And then you've got just different types of regulators dealing with this stuff. Whereas if somebody just opens up a Coinbase account in London, I can send them money instantly. So I kind of get it. I see a use case for this product. It's kind of like international Venmo. You know, we're not dealing with Revolut or Vimo or whatever all these other startups are, WeChat, et cetera. You can get US dollars in one app from one country to another. So
yeah, I mean, we're spoiled in the US in terms of having a banking system. Yes, it might be inefficient, but like it's trustworthy, right? Whereas a lot of these countries don't trust their banks, so they need a system outside of traditional banking systems because the government, there's no such thing as FDIC insurance in Laos, like, so kind of like this makes sense if it's going to be backed by something as stable as the US dollar. So
I mean, Argentina, the appetite for this in Argentina is going to be insane.
Yeah, right.
Like the inflation rates, they have like 3 different currencies over there.
Oh
so
my God,
yeah, it'll be incredible for a country like that. I mean, they almost, Milieu, I forget his name, Emile Milieu, I forget the guy's name, chainsaw economist that got elected president down there. He almost pegged their currency to the US dollar, which would have totally lost their ability to control their their currency. Mm-hmm. Which sometimes when you go so far out of control, that can make sense to just say, fuck it, we can't control this. Every politician that comes in here wants to pump cash in and make it look like we're doing something, but then the inflation just gets out of control. Yeah. So you don't want to talk about the SEC chair?
No, sorry, I was taking over host duties. You're the host. I'll go wherever you want me to go. Tell me what to do.
Well, yeah, we just have one more article here. Do you want to talk about Paul Atkins? Speaking of crypto positive administrators at the...
Yeah, we got this guy who's probably about to become the SEC chair. He was just confirmed by the Senate Banking Committee. And something that was a red flag in his application as they were doing due diligence is that he owns over 50 life insurance policies. We don't actually have disclosure on whether they're on him or other people, but there's just a bunch of speculation. Talk about a diversified portfolio. You know what I mean? Get it?
Wait, die? Because of the estate
life
planning
insurance?
That's going on?
Because their life insurance policy?
Diversified
portfolio? Come on!
I'm into it.
Thank you.
I'm into it. Let's ride.
Okay, we can. I just wanted to get that joke in. We can move on. No, this is a huge red flag. Like, sure, the only good reason I can think of, and this is laid out in this article from I think Yahoo News, the only reason that you should have so many life insurance policies is if you are an owner, a business owner in a bunch of different businesses. Like you and I have. Well, I have a life insurance policy on you because that's a great way to finance a sale in the event that we would have to force a sale because somebody died. So if you are a owner in a bunch of different businesses, you might have, I don't know, a few life insurance policies, like 5 or 6, not more than 50. So something is, this guy's up to no good. And it makes up nearly 10% of his net worth. So it's a lot of money here.
You think he's up to no good?
I think he's up to no good.
He's been a public servant for most of his life.
I think he's a public servant worth what, $350 million?
Wow.
For sure.
He married
Yeah.
He married a rich Republican donor who like invented the roof tile, or her grandfather did in Kansas. So she's worth 1.2 billion and he's married to her. So I think it has something to do with that. And yeah, he does own crypto. I hear you on the no good stuff. This is just typical of the Trump administration to put someone in a position of power where they have a conflict of interest immediately. He's got $6 million in crypto and he will be regulating it, and he's not moving any of this money into a public trust, I don't imagine. So it'll be fun to see where that goes. Our last article for today is a Reddit question. We have Thinking Thinker 9234 24 days ago asked, I'm receiving an 8-figure inheritance. I need angel investing advice.
Bro.
I'm about to receive 8-figure inheritance and I want to do some angel investing with a portion of that money. Has anyone here done any angel investing / startup investing? How do you go about finding startups, deciding what to invest in, etc.? Welcome any advice. Thank you. I only laugh because it's at least a $10 million question. It could be a $99 million question, and we got 3 sentences for context. And the person asked 24 days ago. We have a ton of responses from people on Reddit, and the OP has not responded to any of them, potentially because he was found through reverse engineering his IP address and is now dead. AJ, what are your thoughts on what you would do with 8-figure inheritance? Would you angel invest it? Would you ask for advice on Reddit? What would you do? A combination of things?
A combination of those. I mean, I read this as angel investing, as in it would be more lucrative to literally invest in angels than do angel investing if you don't know anything about angel investing. By which I mean...
do you know any angels?
No, sorry, that was
That's what I call my dog Charlie's girlfriends.
Charlie's angels. If you are asking on Reddit how do you go about finding startups, you have no business being an angel investor. I mean, 8 figures is a significant amount of money. So I would give the advice to this person, carve off maybe 5 to 10% of this inheritance to do some messing around, but I would not just start right away and say, I need to angel invest. I would immerse myself in communities, get to know people, find people who have had success before, interview them, and basically what's the 10,000 hours rule? I would become an absolute expert on it before deploying any of my capital, but I would not deploy more than 10% of this inheritance. And all these, I agree with most of these commenters, which is like, yeah, if you're asking how to find it, like you don't know what you're doing and just stay out of it. There are some interesting ETFs that you can just sort of buy a like slightly diversified portfolio of these kind of private companies where you're potentially getting some of that upside. There's a bunch of exchanges like Equity B and what's the other one? SecFi, I believe, has a fund. Or sorry, not SecFi. ESO fund has a fund where you can put some of your money as a private individual. You can have access to these pre-IPO companies pretty early stage. So that might be a nice way to scratch the itch and get some diversity. But if you got 8 figures, you probably don't need it. You're probably just bored. So if it's going to cure your boredom, that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm into that. I imagine somebody, I think they Googled like what has the highest return on investment potentially, and angel investing came up as the result.
Yeah. I mean, look, I see the appeal. Like if you never have to work again because you have so much money, like angel investing or even like investing in bars and restaurants, like it's something to do. Like I understand the need and want to do that. So I'm not I'm not saying don't do it at all. Like if you're going to get energy from, advising a kid on a startup, but it sounds like you don't maybe have any experience to advise with. So maybe you should stick to something that maybe like a hobby that you have and see if there's any way you can invest in that industry. If you're like into, I don't know, fly fishing, maybe you could find a fly fishing startup and advise there.
Yeah. Yeah. I have to agree with you. I think angels can be sexy, but gentlemen prefer bonds, my friend. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. You can email us your financial problems at liquidityevent@brooklynfi.com. Leave us a voicemail at memo.fm/liquidityevent, and we'll play it on the air. And finally, Stans can leave us a review if they want to be weird about it. Thank you so much, AJ.
Stay diversified. See you next week.